Hello everyone. Today we are going to study the fourth part of the poem The Lady of Shalott, written by Alfred Tennyson, which is the last and final section of the poem. In the stormy east wind straining, the pale yellow woods were waning, the broad stream in this banks complaining, heavily the low sky raining over towered Camelot. Down she came and found a boat, beneath the willow left afloat, and round about the prose she wrote, the Lady of Shalott. So, as we learnt earlier, the dream has been broken, the fantasy that was going on, the web of magic that she had been weaving has been broken because of the arrival of Sir Lancelot. And since the Lady of Shalott had been cursed, that the moment she will have a direct look on any object or in person through the window of the tower where she was living, immediately that trance would be broken and she would die. So, what happens? All of a sudden, the weather changes. Earlier, there was a quite sunny atmosphere, but now all of a sudden, the weather changes. In the stormy east wind straining, the pale yellow woods were waning. Now, the east wind is blowing and the leaves are falling all over the place, including the river, the broad stream in its banks complaining. The river is said to be complaining over here. That means it is overflowing the banks, heavily the low sky raining, and the rains have started. It is raining quite heavily over towered Camelot. It can be seen that the rain is falling all over the place, right up to the city of Camelot. Down she came and found a boat. Now, what happens? The Lady of Shalott, all of a sudden, for the first time, comes out of the place where she was residing, and she finds a boat which was tied beneath a willow tree. It had been left afloat over there, and round about the brow she wrote the Lady of Shalott. So the first and foremost thing that she does is to write her name, the Lady of Shalott, upon the front part of the boat. Then let's see the next stanza. And down the river's dim expanse, like some bold seers in a trance, seeing all his own mischance, with a glassy countenance, did she look to Camelot. And at the closing of the day, she loosed the chain and down she lay. The broad stream bore her far away, the Lady of Shalott. And down the river's dim expanse, like some bold seer in a trance. Here, the Lady of Shalott is being compared to a seer or a sage or rishi who is in a trance or in a state of bliss. She herself doesn't know what is going to happen. She is not quite clear what exactly will happen. Just as a seer, he can see the future. Similarly, the Lady of Shalott, now she has come out and she is just going towards the city of Camelot in a boat, but something untoward is going to happen in her life. She is able to have some idea of that. Not a very clear picture she has, but she has got some idea of what is going to happen in her life. Seeing all his own mischance. So just as a seer or rishi knows that some mischance or some mishappening is going to take place in his life, in the same way, the Lady of Shalott also knows this, that something, and ultimately what will happen? She will die. This curse had already been given to her. With a glassy countenance. Now, the color of her face begins to change. It is quite bright, shining, glassy. Did she look to Camelot? She has a look towards the city of Camelot, and at the closing of the day, she loosed the chain and down she lay. So, the first thing she does after reaching the boat is to write her name, the Lady of Shalott. Then she waits till the evening, and then at the close of the day, that is in the evening, she looses the chain. That means she unbounds the boat, and the boat starts moving automatically towards the city of Camelot, and she is lying in the boat. The broad stream bore her far away, the Lady of Shalott. So, in this way, the Lady of Shalott, lying upon the boat, is being carried towards the city of Camelot. Now, let us see the next stanza of the poem. Lying, robed in snowy white, that loosely flew to left and right, the leaves upon her falling light, through the noises of the night, she floated down to Camelot. And as the boat had wound along the willow hills and fields among, they heard her singing her last song, the Lady of Shalott. Now the poet says that just as the Lady of Shalott was lying in that boat, she was wearing snow white dress that was very loosely flying toward left and right, and the leaves of the willow tree were falling all over the place, including the boat and all over the body of the Lady of Shalott, through the noises of the night. And since it was the time of night, so the noises could be easily heard. The movement of the boat could be heard because there was pin drop silence. She floated down to Camelot, and as the boat had bound along the willow hills and fields among, they heard her singing her last song. Now, one more important thing is being told over here. As she was moving in that boat, the Lady of Shalott was also singing a song simultaneously, and it is perhaps her last song, the last song of her life, which may be called the swan song. Anybody's last song is called the swan song. So the Lady of Shalott was singing her swan song, or the last song of her life, and she was moving towards the city of Camelot in a boat. Now let us see the next stanza. Heard a carol, mournful holy, chanted loudly, chanted lowly, till her blood was frozen slowly, and her eyes were darkened wholly, turned to towered Camelot. For ere she reached upon the tide, the first house by the waterside, singing in her song she died, the Lady of Shalott. Now, in this stanza, the poet tells us very clearly what exactly happens to the Lady of Shalott. Heard a carol, mournful, holy. She was singing a carol, and it was quite mournful and holy song that was being sung. It was chanted very loudly and then slowly, till her blood was frozen slowly. So she sings as she dies, and she dies as she sings. The two activities are going on simultaneously. Her blood freezes and she dies, and her eyes were darkened wholly, turned to towered Camelot. Her eyes were turned toward the city of Camelot. For ere she reached upon the tide, the first house by the waterside, singing in her song, she died, the Lady of Shalott. So in this way, according to the curse that had been given to her, that the moment she would look out of the window, that trance would be broken and she will be overtaken by death. Now, let us see the next stanza of the poem. Under tower and balcony, by garden wall and gallery, a gleaming shape she floated by, dead pale between the houses high, silent into Camelot. Out upon the wharfs they came, knight and burgher, lord and dame, and round the prow they read her name, the Lady of Shalott. So, when this boat containing the dead body of the Lady of Shalott reaches the near the city of Camelot, near the first house, what happens over there? What is the reaction of the people? Let us see. Under tower and balcony, by garden wall and gallery, a gleaming shape she floated by. So her body was quite shining, and it is no longer a lady, it is now a shape, and she was floating in that boat. Dead pale between the houses high, silent into Camelot. Out upon the wharves they came. So the people of the city of Camelot, they came out. Some of them came upon the wharves or the wooden planks, and they include all classes of people, knight and burgher, lords and ladies, and around the prow they read her name. Everybody is just looking with the mark of interrogation who that lady is and where she has come from. So nobody is there to tell who she is. So they see on the front part of the boat, on the prow, it is written the introduction, the brief introduction, that is the Lady of Shalott. Who is this, and what is here? And in the lighted palace near died the sound of royal cheer, and they crossed themselves for fear, all the knights at Camelot. But Lancelot mused a little space. He said, she has a lovely face. God in his mercy lent her grace, the Lady of Shalott. So when people start putting this question to each other, who is this and what is here, and this lighted palace, even in the city of Camelot, the activities, all the activities in the palace also come to a standstill. All cheerful activities come to a standstill. Died the sound of royal cheer, and they crossed themselves for fear. Everybody is, afraid, as if it is a sign of ill omen that a dead body has arrived in a boat. So something, some mishappening, some mischance is going to take place upon this city of Camelot. So they begin to cross themselves as the Christians do. So they are just crossing themselves out of fear, all the knights at Camelot. But Lancelot mused a little space. There is one person whose activities are a little bit different. He is not looking askant. He is simply, musing or thinking deeply. You are quite familiar with this Lancelot, Sir Lancelot, on whom the Lady of Shalott had looked, and all this, started. That was the dream was broken, and the mirror in which the reflections were being cast, that mirror was also broken. So he is the same Lancelot, Sir Lancelot, the warrior. His reaction is a bit different. He is musing, thinking deeply about this lady. He said, she has a lovely face. That means he is just stunned by the beauty of this Lady of Shalott. He said, she has a lovely face. God in his mercy lent her grace, the Lady of Shalott. So he begins to pray to God that he may grant peace to the departed soul of the Lady of Shalott. So that's the end to this beautiful poem, which is a ballad, very long poem that tells a story, and it is a medieval romance, beautiful medieval romance. Thank you.